Hey, Jim Carafano, people. Jim Carafano, good morning.
There is something that you can do, you personally as an individual, to make the world safer for your children and your grandchildren. And that is listen to Allman in the Morning.
Wow, I want to get your take on this because I know you're not about politics, you're about policy. But before we get to the Missile Defense Doc, I want to get to the John Bolton comments about Hillary Clinton and the complete misreading of the Arab Spring. Let me run this by you real quick, the John Bolton bit.
Well, I think her tenure as Secretary of State will go down as part of the larger Obama foreign policy of seeing American influence weakened all over the world. I think their fatal mistake, I mean, they made so many, we don't have time to go through them all, but their fatal mistake was not understanding the Arab Spring, not understanding that it was not an outbreak of democratic sentiment. It was really the rise of radical Islam.
Yeah, I mean, and Jim Carafano, I'm telling you, I'm haunted by the fact that you said the same thing before it actually ever even happened. You predicted the result of Arab Spring.
Yeah, and it's and in a sense, you could say, well, look, Obama didn't know the Arab Spring was coming, so his whole policy of kind of disengaging from the Middle East, maybe if the Arab Spring hadn't happened, it may have been okay. But here's the thing: is we knew the Arab Spring was coming. It actually started before he left, and it started in Iran when we saw the rise up of the Green Revolution in Iran. So they knew that potential was there, and that was a red flag that said walking away from this region's a big mistake. And then here's the other thing, which is once we saw the Arab Spring unfolding, what was our response to that? Well, we were going to empower the Iranians, and we were going to empower the Muslim Brotherhood. So literally in the White House, they're saying, we're going to turn the Middle East over to the moderate Muslims to replace all these despots. And their definition of moderate Muslims are groups like Iran and the Muslim Brotherhood, who, look, at the end of the day, when you line up the Iranian mullah's vision of what the world looks like, and the Muslim Brotherhood, and ISIS, and Al-Qaeda, they may have different paths, but at the end, they want to take the world to the same place. So I do agree with Bolton that you'll look back at the last 8 years of foreign policy, particularly the first 8 years that allowed the foundation for it, and say this is some of the worst foreign policy making in modern history.
Yeah, and it's weird because it was almost, especially with Libya, the result could have been seen a mile away. I mean, it saddens me that we kind of knew that. And also, there were some Republicans on board with this. There were some people who, I remember that they thought that these people in Egypt were just like the Tea Party. It's like, no, that's not true. Hey,
they hate the Tea Party, but that's all. Yeah, and here's the other thing is, look, and I'm not excusing the Bush years. I mean, I think I think if you go back to Clinton, I think we've had a string of kind of poor foreign policy since the 90s, and I don't think it's a partisan comment because I do think. But here's the difference I think between Bush and Clinton and Obama, and that is that Bush made big mistakes. I think the Bush administration learned from their mistakes, and at the end of the Bush presidency, they'd addressed a lot of them, and they admitted that they'd made mistakes, and they righted most of them. But neither Bill Clinton nor Barack Obama ever did that. I mean, people forget. What did we inherit from Bill Clinton? When we entered the 1990s, this was the age of America was the lone superpower, and we were going to be unchallenged for decades. And by the time Bill Clinton left office, I mean, America was already under assault. And by the time Obama leaves office, we look like we're losing everywhere in the world.
Yeah, no doubt. So what about this Missile Defense Doc?
Well, that's part of that. I mean, I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, before Obama took office, we did this documentary on missile defense because that's one of the key tools in the toolkit to be able to protect the country from attacks, whether it's North Korea, Iran, or Russia, or China. And, we made the film, we talked about the progress that we made under Bush. It was one of the areas where he actually accomplished a great deal. And we said, look, if we just stay on this trajectory, we will be able to defend Americans against the one kind of attack that we can't recover from. And so what we did is we took that film, we re-edited it, we brought in some new experts and had Genevieve Wood moderate the film.
Nice.
And we re-released it. We said, what have we done the last 8 years? And It's a story not only explaining the challenge of missile defense and how missile defense works, but the complete failure of the Obama administration to keep ahead of the threat and warning people that we are in a bad place when it comes to missile defense. And anybody can watch this if you go to it's just the number 33-minutes.com. Right, 33 minutes is the maximum time it would take a ballistic missile to get anywhere in the world and hit the United States. So that's where the title comes from. So
that's
33-minutes.com. You can watch a documentary, get all the information, and scare the hell out of you.
And so Genevieve Wood is narrating it, huh?
Yeah, she did a great job. We brought in another analyst, Bruce Klinger, who's former CIA intelligence analyst. He's been at Heritage for over a decade. He's been studying this for almost 30 years. And to just, and we just cut them in. We shorten the film, and then we cut them in to kind of explain where we are. But to just hear him walk through how the threats have progressed and how little we've done to keep up, you just want to cry.
Yeah, no doubt. And the crazy thing is that you guys first released this in 2007, but then updated it. And so that's how prescient you guys have been regarding the concerns that we should be having about our security here. Yeah, that's right. So
no, it's I got to tell you, I'm very. I just actually finished this book about. We came out of the 70s, and people thought, oh, my God, our economy is in free fall. We got stagflation. The military's in terrible shape. We can never recover from this. And we had this dramatic decade of the 80s in which we rebuilt our military, and our economy really thrived. And, you ask, well, can that ever happen again? I believe it can, but we're not going to luck into that. We're not going to luck into it with continuing the policies of the last 8 years. That's just what I'm telling people. It's just a fact. And people argue that, well, and again, this is not a political comment, that people argue that, well, Clinton, at least she'll be good on those issues. And I'm like, I don't know where that comes from. She's part of this team of the last 8 years. All the people that will come in to serve her are people that served under Obama. It's just going to be 4 more years of this. And I don't think here's the bad part, is I think the bad guys have figured out how to deal with this stuff. And so I don't know why people expect a better result.
Wow. All right, buddy. Well, listen, nice talking to you as always.
Nice talking to you. Like you're all going to die, and you say, "Hey, yeah, okay, thanks for."
Well,
calling.
no, I'm not.
Okay.
This stuff doesn't depress me. It invigorates me, energizes me, as it does all of my listeners, my friend.
Okay. Well, there you go.
At JJ Carafano. We'll see you, brother.
All right, brother.
Have a good weekend.